The creation story teaches you a lot about masculinity. There's so much order in that story. Let us make man in our image and in our likeness. My identity is that I'm in the image and likeness of my creator. With that came his mission: tend to the garden, tend to the animals and the beasts in the garden. But then God gave him something else that I haven't talked about.
This is Caesar Walker, the cool, calm, collected one.
And I'm Ronnie Gatry, the emotional one.
And we are the Tipping Point Podcast, your source for the black male's perspective.
Tipping Point Podcast.
Before Eve showed up, he gave him a value system. He gave him morals. He gave him a conviction. Of all the trees in the garden, you may freely eat. But the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you can't eat of that tree. For in that day you eat, you will surely die. That was conviction. Before Eve ever showed up, he had identity, he had purpose, and he had a value system. All set before she even showed up. The purpose of that was when Eve shows up, there's a role already carved out for her as a helpmate. She already has a value system. In other words, his responsibility is to teach her, because when the first time we have on record her opening her mouth, she's repeating what God told Adam. Of all the trees in the garden, we may freely eat. She's saying this to the serpent, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, we can't. She repeated it verbatim, which meant Adam taught her his convictions. He taught her his values. He taught her his mission. He taught her his identity. It's because of his identity, purpose, and conviction, Eve was able to even come on the scene. So I'm thinking about all these things in its totality. You're a teacher. You're a source of wisdom. You're the leader in there's so much that comes from that. The value, telling your wife we're going to church. That's conviction. And I think for most men, you have to understand, because we're searching for the thing that came last first. No, Eve came last. Okay, I can't, going back to the previous recording, I can't hire, a business can't, you got a lot of entrepreneurs who can't hire people. They're trying to hire someone, but there's no work. There's no job. Okay, what is her role? Because part of submission is to come up under an already existing mission. What is she coming up under? What are you teaching her? What are the values of this household? What are the convictions that she has to embrace? Just like a person who joins a company, they embrace whatever convictions, culture, rules already in place before they got there. When you talk about Adam, he had all this intact. Now he messed it up because he didn't uphold those convictions and values. We know how that story ended, but he fell. The goal is for you to continue to remember who you are, remember your mission, and stick to your convictions. That's masculinity in a nutshell. And the beauty of it is she's a helpmeet, meaning she's there to help, meaning she has a role, meaning she has significance, meaning she has input. So it's not a domineering thing. And I know we tend to demonize male leadership as domineering. But the buck stops with him. It goes down, everyone looking at him. So he must lead. He's been called to lead. We've been called to lead. And I think if you develop and cultivate these traits before Eve shows up, this is why I said I don't think masculinity changes that much, especially when you've cultivated it. When she shows up, your masculinity is already intact. and you're able to achieve purpose and live your life the way it was intended to live. That's all I got.
You know what to do now.
No other thoughts, gentlemen? This was a good talk. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
You turned up. I like that. I like that gat.
I like this every day.
Oh, I know what to do now moving forward. I know what to do now for. And look, and what's so awesome about that is you're talking from a place of growth. You've grown over the past year or so in your marriage. So this hit a sensitive spot. You took off.
I don't have it all figured out.
Me either. That makes two of us.
You're the one person that does.
Man. But I'm saying you're speaking from a place of you've learned, you've applied new things into your marriage, and you've seen the fruits of it, so you can speak to it now. So I'm proud of you for that, man.
Thank you, bro.
I'm proud of you for that. That was awesome. That's awesome.
I'll be less passionate next time.
No, you won't.